Hello, tiny people trapped in the confines of my computer. I'm Finn, and welcome to a video? I don't know what I'm calling this yet. I'm so professional. But today we're talking about something because I just kind of want to talk about it, and I don't exactly have somebody here right now. Home alone, best friend lives like an hour and a half away. I want to talk about me being oblivious. I think that's the right word. Oblivious? I don't know. Kind of goes along with being oblivious, I guess. But I'm 18, so I haven't lived a full life, but I've lived a bit. I've done some stuff. Some stuff I'm happy with, stuff I'm not, stuff I'm proud of, stuff I'm not. Done good and done bad. But I've been oblivious for it all. Not only have I been oblivious, I'm also not even in a self-deprecating way, I am stupid. Period. I'm a dumbass. I am dumb. But I've been doing pretty much everything throughout my life, not knowing that I am doing, if I do something good, I'm not doing it because I'm a good person or because I want to do good. I'm doing it and then it ends up being good. Or if I do something that's bad, it's not that I'm a bad person or that I am trying to do bad. It's that I'm doing something and it just ends up to be a bad thing. And that's a very weird thing. And I feel like it's something that I'm not the only person who does. There's gotta be, there's 8 billion people. Other people do that, right? And I don't understand it. Also, I'm forgetting to breathe because I'm having an emotional moment. So, one moment. I need a second to breathe. I took a sec to breathe and now I'm back. Also, the lighting's different. But, obviously, teenage dirtbag. But I've done good and I've done bad. And especially over this past probably 6 months, I've been trying to better myself in every way. Socially, health-wise, mentally, and physically. And that usually, and especially with me, has required a lot of looking back and seeing things that I've said or done and wanting, striving, and trying to make things better and to be better. And I've noticed, looking back, that I've done a lot of not cool stuff. Been a bad friend, a bad partner, bad employee, bad student. And it's never been intentional. I've done a lot of I've never done anything downright deplorable, right? I'm not a sex offender. I'm not a racist, homophobic, xenophobic asshole. I've just been very blunt in ways that have been not nice. I've been very ignorant in ways that have led to very negative situations. And I've hurt people because of that. And it's never been malicious. It's never been purposefully an attack at anybody. I just have had issues understanding that I'm doing anything wrong. And I think that's a majority of the issue is I can be doing something that is negative and harmful to a person or group of people. And I don't have anything telling me that. I don't have a part of my brain saying, hey, you're being mean, or hey, you're being an asshole, or hey, you're not helping. I don't have a part of my brain that says that. And I think most people do, and I just don't have it. And a lot of times I, like, immediately blame it on, like, well, one of three things. I either blame it on, like, oh, it's like, it's the autism, dude. I'm just being blunt. And it's like, that is true, but I shouldn't use it as an out. The second thing I blame it on is, like, well, I've never been taught to do good. Like, I've grown up in households. I've grown up either in households of people that are bad people who do bad things to people that don't deserve it, and had no parental figures, no father, no mother, had, like, children around me being hurt, adults around me being hurt. Multiple of my, like, siblings have been, like, in terrible situations alongside myself. So I've either been in that sort of household or a lack of household. So, like, I've never been taught to be positive. I've grown up around screaming, yelling, negative asshats. So I've grown up into a bit of a screaming, yelling, negative asshat. And I've definitely gotten a lot better, but that's still who I am. And the third thing that I end up blaming stuff on is nobody tells me I'm doing something bad until way later. And I don't want to be like, oh, well, it's your fault that I do something bad because you don't tell me. Because that's not what I'm getting at. What I mean is, like, let's say I'm talking with a friend and something horrendous happens to them, and then I respond in a way that is harmful. That friend will not tell me that I said something hurtful until days, weeks, months, years later. And due to the fact that I'm oblivious to the fact that I'm doing something hurtful, I, A, don't see something wrong with it, therefore I don't change it. B, have no reason in my mind to not do it again in the future, meaning I lead to hurting them more. And I don't want to be like, oh, it's all on you, you should tell me. But I feel like if I'm doing something wrong to you, you're the only person who can tell me to stop. I feel like I'm pushing the blame on people. Everything I do is on me. The same way anything you do is on you. I'm just saying, if you can tell me what I am doing, there's a much higher chance of me fixing and working on fixing that problem. Trying to think of better ways to put this stuff. That's just an example, though. And due to that, I've said and done things I'm not super happy with, and I've hurt too many people. But, like, I don't want to continue hurting people. And I think my ability to communicate has gotten much better over the years. Like, 12-year-old me couldn't hold a conversation with 14-year-old me. 14-year-old me would die trying to conversate with a 16-year-old me. And 16-year-old me couldn't comprehend the communication skills of me right now at 18. I don't even think 6 months ago I could comprehend this level of communicating. And I'm still kind of iffy on it. I'm just a lot better than I was. But I've been working on it, and I'm really happy with the progress I've made, and I'm going to continue to work on it. And I'm... going... A lot of the people that I care about most are people who don't talk about this stuff. My best friend, who you can find on YouTube if you feel like it, Ambit and Beans, is not exactly an emotional person. Because he has, like, moments of being happy or sad or angry or depressed or excited. But he doesn't exactly talk about that stuff. And not in, like, the stereotypical, oh, guys don't talk about their feelings. It's not that. He kind of chooses not to. Almost as if there's a part of him that says that he isn't feeling. And he talks to me more than he does anybody else about his feelings and stuff. But he kind of just doesn't have much of, like, an expressionism to him. And that makes it difficult to communicate with him about emotional problems. Because he understands them. Like, if I say, oh, I feel blank. Like, I feel sadness. He has felt sadness before. He understands it. But he doesn't have, like, a part of his brain that signifies, okay, I felt sadness, that person has been sad, now I can communicate with them on that topic. And then I've been in multiple relationships, and I think I can only, like, point to 2 where emotions have been a talking point. And only one where emotions, at least through my eyes, where the emotions on my end were treated as if they mattered whatsoever. And a lot of friends growing up didn't speak on emotions, either because, okay, the groups I hung around with were hardcore emos, which means I don't have to explain that. It's the internet. You get it. Or Southern men who pretend they cannot feel anything. So growing up, I didn't get to talk to anybody. And then my father was absent, didn't get to talk to him. Mother was, like, on drugs until I was, like, 12. And then after that, she was busy taking care of nonverbal autistic children and not talking to me super often. So then I didn't have, like, that figure. Then I was living with my grandmother, and then she didn't, like, talk to me about anything. And anytime I do try to talk to her about emotional stuff, it immediately becomes a religious thing. And I'm not looking for, like, a religious, spiritual talk. I'm looking for an emotional talk. And I know they can be together, but they're not always. You should be able to use them together and separate because, you know, they are the same and completely opposite at the same time, so you kind of have to split them and use them. So I've never had anyone talk to me about emotional stuff, ever, in my entire life. So there's all of that, thrown on top of the fact that, hi, I'm Finn, it's not my birth name, I was born as a man, I'm a woman, haha, trans moment. But, like, I can't even use my preferred name. It's like, there's, like, 3 people who I specifically tell to call me Jonathan still, simply due to the fact that it makes me feel comfortable for them specifically to use it. And then there's, like, 3 people who I have told my name is Finn that are in my personal life. That's it. Because I can't trust anyone else with that knowledge. And that adds to the fear and the pain and the lack of being able to express emotion. And that's scary because I want to be open and talk to people, but I can't. And for more context, I live in a small town in Arkansas in America. Long story short, you know the stereotype of, like, fat, bearded, racist, homophobic, extremely hateful Southern people? Everyone who lives within, like, 20 miles of me is either gay, a different race, or that guy. And the ratio of that guy to everything else is like 92% to 5% of different races to 3% of queers that are open and 2% of queers that are closeted. So, like, I can't talk to anyone about the stuff. So I don't know how I'm supposed to be emotionally open when it isn't safe to do so. Like, up until the therapist I'm talking to right now, I couldn't tell even my therapist my feelings because my therapist at the time was A, a racist, B, homophobic, C, transphobic, and D, just genuinely didn't like me as a person, which I feel like is a weird thing if you're a therapist to not like the people you get it. But stuff like that's weird. And it all piles on to just like up here of just reasons I can't do good. And like, it's hard to do good things and be a good person when you can't be yourself. Because I think there's three main steps to being good. The first is to be you. The second is to understand what is good and what is bad. Obviously, that's like a black and white terminology, and it's not realistic, but you know what I mean. And then the one at the end of it is to do good, not because it's good, but because it's what you think is right. And if you can't do step 1 and 2, you can't get to 3. And if you can't do step 1, you can't do 2 or 3. And I can't do step 1 because it's not safe. So if I can't be myself, how am I supposed to show myself to people? How am I supposed to make that version of myself better? And then the hardest part is, how do I keep that version of myself away from the version of myself that I used to be so angry and harmful towards? How do I keep the version of myself I want to be and I am becoming away from the version of me that hurt everyone around me, including myself? It's really confusing, and I don't know. I don't know. On here, I try to be transparent. Cause I make jokes and I fool around, and sometimes I'll do a character or whatever, you know. I can be not me for a bit or for a joke or a story or blah 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 blah. But when it comes to stuff where it's like, hi, I'm Finn, I'm doing blank, or blank happened, I try to be as transparent and real as I can be. Because I see no point in lying or hiding things or doing something overtly inaccurate to who I am as a person. And that's sort of why I do this sort of video where I just sit and talk for a while. It's why I absolutely love the last 2 videos I did, the video about my autism and then the one about fidget toys. Those 2 videos I adore. They're some of my favorite things I've ever made, and it's because it's just me sitting and being real. I don't plan anything. I don't set up any sort of like list. There's no script. It's just me talking to the camera with a microphone and just being me. So I try to keep that transparency with everything I make, even the stuff where I'm a character or I'm making a joke or a bit. I try to keep a little bit of transparency, like as a seed, just in case. And that's one of the most therapeutic parts of doing this, is being able to go between, like, a joke. I have a series planned for the near future. I'm waiting for a prop where it isn't me. It's a character. And it's a character that requires me to not be me without... I get to not be Finn in a way that isn't harmful, if that makes sense. I get to be a character in a healthy way, and that's super fun and super nice, and I love it. Let me just get a sip of my gamer subs. Hey, gamer subs, you should like partner with me or something. Sweet G subs, baby. But who knows when this comes out, or even if I decide to post this or whatever. But I've had fun doing this for however long I've been doing it. I talk about this a lot, but this time it leads to something. I've been making stuff on YouTube since October of 2012. That is 11 years. And I've never made a single cent. I've never made money. I've never gotten any sort of clout. Nothing that could be, like, harmful to me or harmful to me or a gain on my behalf. I do this because I genuinely love it. And I want to continue doing it. And I'm going to. And this is why I say this time it finally leads to me saying something important. I've never put myself into it. I've always been a character. I've always been... I've always either been off camera without a microphone, or just a microphone doing vocals, or on camera but not me. 'Cause, like, I'm finally putting myself on camera. Putting Finn into this instead of being a character in this show. I am the show, if that makes sense. And that's really, really nice and really, really comforting, and I love it. That's all for today. Have a great day, great afternoon, evening, whatever it is. I love you guys. That's all I've got for today.